through the history, you mentioned just a minute ago the pieces. Through the history of the crew and the outsiders looking in and hearing music and seeing the movement, they don't necessarily know how everyone came together. So I know myself for years, when I would see MAAD RUGID, E and Ra, I just assumed that was, the connection E got with Ra. But is it true that you were the one that introduced Rasan to E? How did you meet Rasan and how did that happen?
Yeah. Like I said, I hadn't really, man, kind of visited so bad with me, man, because that was my little brother, man, you know what I'm saying? So it's a little tough, you know what I'm saying, after we had talked before. But anyway, I did because Rasan's cousin, Hashim, me and him are tight, you know what I mean? We grew up together and me and him was like, we like brothers too. So I think vaguely I remember Rasan a little bit before coming every now and then, maybe doing summers or whatever. And I remember this little dude, whatever, and I know it was Sheem's cousin, So the last time is when Ross must have stayed, or he did, and moved here to Virginia. Because he came down, he was here that summer. And so him Rasan over Sheem crib, and I'm coming through, whatever, holler Sheem. I mean, I might see Sheem like every day. It was just a thing every day, whatever. Like, yo, what's up, man? What's going on? What you doing for the day? Whatever, nothing, whatever. And Rasan would be over there, and then Rasan was like, yo, man. So after getting to know Rasan, yo, man, I mean, I don't be doing nothing, man. I'm just kind of be, sitting here, man. I said, I want to, man, get out, man, do something, whatever. And so I had to kind of fill Ra out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because, I just know him through his cousin. I didn't know him like that. So I got to, fill him out a little bit, And so I said, look, man, I said, yeah, man. I said, look, I said, next time, man, I said, yeah, I'll introduce you to some of my friends, and mostly everybody, like that I knew, even when it came from Glen Garden, Woodsong, Newsom Park, whatever. All of us just went to school together, grew up together, played sports together, whatever. And they was friends, And so I said, we'll hang out, man, introduce you, man. And because by then, when we talk about that street life, what I was already doing, my thing. So I'm like, I introduced you to some people or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Then that way you can go hang out. I go do what I got to do or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And because me and Sheem, like I said, we're tight, whatever, like brothers, and that this is like a little brother. And so I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna just put him into any kind of situation around any kind of anybody, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't roll like that either, And so me and Ra, I took Ra out, took him to Glen Gardens one day, then another time or whatever, or during the course of a day, we go to Woodsong, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just introducing him to everybody. And of course, they, like I said, some knew Sheem and whatever, like, yeah, his cousin, whatever, and everything. So Ra was just that kind of dude, man. People just gravitated to him, man. He just had it, man. He was, of course, he was comical, man. You know what I mean? He was funny, you know what I mean? And he was a good dude, man. He was really, really good dude, man. He was real. And people saw that, you know what I'm saying? Cats saw that. And so speed this up a little bit. One day, by hanging with Rob by now, Rob, he know my cousin, Big On, he know, whatever, Maul and everybody, everybody, Gold, you know what I'm saying, everybody. And Rob always, you know what I'm saying, be joking. So when he be joking, you know what I'm saying, he's saying a few little rhymes and everything, right? So, like I said, I have a love for music or whatever. Feel like I've been listening to, hip hop forever, right? But I knew it was just something different, you know what I mean? I said, yo, man, if you really get serious, man, you know what I'm saying? I think you got something, man. I said, you need to stop playing, man. I said, because it's something, you got something, man, So next thing I know, then Rod, you know what I'm saying, he might be at his cousin crib, you know what I'm saying? He got a little pad now, he writing or whatever and everything. Speed it up some more. Me and Mouse, like I said, we was always talking or whatever. Anyway, I might just be, in the neighborhood or whatever, and just stop by Mouse's crib where his mom was living at, and so because I would go, like I said, it was that's how things were back then. I don't know what they do now, whatever. We went by, each other's house, man, just checked on each other every day, man. I'll stop over here. Yo, what's going on? I'll stop over there, whatever. I might stop at Wayne crib, might stop at Mouse crib or whatever. We just did that, I guess that was before all the phones and the technology. That's how you communicate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't FaceTime and all that then. So you go by everybody's crib, and that's what we did on a regular basis, man. And so going over Mouse mom's crib, going there, yo, what's going on, Mouse, whatever, and little dude sitting on the chair, and Mouse like, yo, man, so he said, yo, this my cousin, man, right here, Mouse, this is my cousin right here, man. It's like, I said, yo, man, I said, okay, what's up, man, meet him or whatever, talk to him a little bit, whatever, and Mouse said, yo, man, man, you gotta hear him, man. You gotta hear him, man. You gotta listen to him, man. You gotta hear him. I said, okay, And so I'm like, okay, yeah, somebody, saying they can rap or whatever, you know what I mean? So like, all right. Soon as he opened up his mouth, man, and I saw his face, and the passion and the hunger when he was rhyming, and I said, yo, I said, I ain't heard this, not around here, I haven't heard this, So later on, I tell Mouse, I said, yo, man, because now Rod is starting to really get into his thing. And I said, yo, man, I said, this man, I'm telling you, man, this will be a good fit here. I said, man, listen to him. So Mouse is a little leery a little bit too, because he's like, man, what, Rod? You know what I'm saying? Because Rod from joking all the time and everything. And I don't think he had heard him. Right? He haven't heard him or whatever. So I said, look, we're gonna bring him around. We're gonna set up a time or whatever. I'm gonna bring him around or whatever, and see how they do. And the thing is, whatever, is that even though you got every rapper, guess they got their own style or whatever, their own flow and everything. And I know E was doing his own thing, want to be solo. Rob probably could have too, you know what I mean? He could have, But the way it fit together in the cadence of going back and forth, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, it was just that fit. And I said, look, man, took Rob around Mouse crib or whatever. And then that's when it began. I introduced them to each other, whatever. And then from there on, man, them cats was together, almost like every day, man, back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Just writing. You know what I'm saying? Doing what they do. Putting together, whatever.
I gotta stop right here, my man, because we gotta stop and pay homage to you right now, because as I'm listening to you, correct me if I'm wrong, we got to give you your props again, and your flowers again, because from what I'm hearing, which I didn't really know and understand, you gotta be giving your props for being not the create, but kind of like the creator of MAAD RUGID.
Man,
which
incredible.
is one of the heart and foundation of Crew Thick. Like Ian Raw to Crew Thick is everything. You feel me?
Man.
And because of you the key component into bringing Mad Rugged together. So without you, there would be no. Basically, what I'm asking you, without you, there would be no Mad Rugged.
Appreciate it.
Man, and y'all heard that shit, man, on Hard Rap Cafe, man. I'm sitting here choked up, bro. Like, I never knew the details of that, you know what I mean, of those brothers coming together, man. So for you to be responsible,
Big E.
you know what I mean? Big E, man. Damn, that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
That's crucial information. That's crucial history. And this is the reason why we do this right here, because I didn't clearly know this. You know what I'm saying? And what Mad Rugged means to crew thick. You know what I'm saying? Part of the foundation of what we created. You know what I'm saying? And that back and forth, like they style going back and forth is legendary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because of you and Mousy, which we gonna get into, we gonna definitely do. We gonna get him, because everything, as we keep bringing up everybody on this platform, there's always, and which I've said over the years, just like bringing up your name, everybody can attest, you know what I'm saying? Because he brought me to the table as well. I always let people know Mouse started Crew Thick. Mouse is the founder, you know what I'm saying? Mouse is the foundation, you know what I'm saying? And he is the common denominator.
Yeah.
And back to what you was just saying, Smoke God, on the importance of Mad Rugged, man.
Yeah.
Not just the Crew Thick. To MCs, fucking period.